Hey homies, what's up? Ryan Winn here with another inking demo. This time we have part 2 of inking the Alterna Comics Tinsel Town pinup piece I'm doing for David Lucarelli and Peter Cimetti. And you'll notice that this is a vertical video, or maybe you just now noticed that. I had originally filmed this to be part of my IGTV series over on Instagram. If you want to check me out over there, I am Ryan_inking_Winn. I post different stuff there than I do on Twitter or DeviantArt. So anyways, it's a vertical platform, and I really like that for people that are watching stuff or hanging out on Instagram on their phone. You can get a nice full screen without, turning your phone, which sounds like a pain in the ass, but it's comfortable to hold your phone upright. That's how it is. So I kind of wanted to play with that platform. And everything turned out fine with the second and third videos, which are combined here into one video. But the first video, for some reason, decided to be horizontal, which made me want to, put it over on YouTube. And then, like I said in the previous video, I figured, I think there's more of my followers are Alterna fans over on YouTube, so maybe it worked out for the best. And then I realized that YouTube is now hosting vertical videos, and while I don't necessarily want to post too many vertical videos on YouTube, I decided to try it out with this one. So, on to the art side. So in the last video, we did what I call identifying everything. Identifying the jacket, the pockets, the badges, her head, her hair, her hat, everything. Basically outlining everything, contour line, there's all sorts of different names for it. I like to get all of that stuff figured out. I want to know all the pieces I'm playing with, and then I go in and lay in the blacks or spot the blacks, again, whatever you want to call it. There are so many, different terms for everything. I would like to, sort of come up with a glossary of terms for techniques and devices and stuff when I finally get to my inking tutorial videos that I will eventually have. And but until then, we're gonna make do with whatever I spit out while we're making these videos. So, I go in, and just like when I started inking on the other video, when I'm doing the outlines and the contours, I started in the lower left-hand corner, and I kind of worked across, as you could see. And now I've gone in, I had it fade out there in the corner, kind of like doing stuff like that. It'll be colored dark, but it gives a bit of dimension. So there I messed up. There should be a little rim of highlight on her collar, and there was a little more ink on the brush than I thought when I kind of pressed down, and it blooped out. So we're gonna have to white that out. But I was taught to ink by Danny Mickey, and day one he taught me, don't be afraid of whiteout. You're working in black and white. Don't let some sort of, retentiveness about like, oh, I don't want to have any whiteout on the board. Don't let that be a hindrance to your creativity. You got to get this stuff done, and you got to make it look good, and it's got to be done quick. So sometimes you need to just employ white as part of your regular arsenal. And I also wouldn't normally use my number 2 to fill in these big black areas, but I was having so much fun with this new brush, I didn't want to put it down. I would just sort of scoop into the ink about halfway down with the brush, so there'd just be a ton of ink, and before it could drip, I swing it over to the board and plop it down really quick and then smear it around. But I don't bear down with the brush either. You don't want to get the bristles all bent out of shape or twisted or braided up, which is why I normally wouldn't use my fine line brush to fill in stuff, but that's how it goes sometimes. So, for some reason, again, something's fudgy with my camera. It just didn't record a couple minutes of me filling in the black on the hat. But there you go. We're caught up, and now we're getting into the film reel in the background. Now I'm kind of regretting that I added the film reel. I don't. I'm working on the colors right now, and I'm not too happy with the results. I'm happy with the way the ink and marker effect turned out on this. You'll see by the end of the video, but I don't know. In the coloring, it's not working for me, and I kind of wish I had come up with some different idea for the background, which is fine. I can change it digitally. I just usually like to have the original line up with the final version that's been digitally colored or had anything done to it. I like to have them line up as much as possible for potential collectors. So using a ruler, but trying to give it a little freehand energy, so I kind of waver and bounce the pen as it glides along the ruler, especially for those long lines. Excuse me, those long lines. Long lines, that was hard to say. Long lines. Now everyone's going to be saying long lines. I had a bunch of people quoting back Lush. I don't even remember what it was now. Lushful lines from the last video. So I think I'm going to keep saying lushful lines. Anyways, there you can see I'm kind of bouncing on the ruler so that it's still straight, but it kind of has a freehand energy to it. It's another trick that was taught to me by Danny Mickey when I was young, when I was early on in the game. I was his background assistant for years and years, and then sort of a co-inker of sorts for a while before I left to do stuff on my own. And so working with a ruler, it's probably the thing I'm best at, is inking with a ruler. I'm pretty good with a brush. I'm really good with a pen, but I can do all kinds of stuff with rulers so much faster than most people, and it's just like second nature. I mean, I did backgrounds for Danny Mickey, Joe Weems, John Levisay. I did some, not many, I maybe did like 10 pages for Norm Ratman. I did some, I think it was Action Comics. I should double check with him. I want to get those issues in my collection. I did some Action Comics. I know it was something Superman related. And then we did some weird adult Chuck Dixon book. I think it was Chuck Dixon. I don't know who the penciler was, but it was some like adult sci-fi book. I don't know, it was weird. Maybe it wasn't Chuck Dixon. I'm going to find out. But I think it might have been. Anyways, so I was doing backgrounds for all those guys for years and years. When I was working for John Levisay, he was inking, what's his name? Howard something. This is great. I am a well of empty names and knowledge here tonight. I'll remember his name though, but it was the Jeff Johns run on the Flash. Howard Porter, that was the fella's name. See, I always get back to it. Howard Porter, he's awesome. I actually think it was some of his best work until his recent work, which has been phenomenal. Inking and I think coloring himself, but John was his inker, and we did, I think, issues like 200 to 224, 225. We had a good couple year run, and it dealt with the Rogues Gallery, which is one of my favorite things dealing with the Flash. So that was one of sort of a career highlight, even though there's no credit. I didn't get any credit for it. I did get originals back from John. He was not only a good mentor, but a good friend and a really cool guy. So I even have like a double page spread of Central City, and the Flash cruising around. There was some pretty cool stuff in that run. So yeah, if you're a Flash fan, if you didn't know I did those issues and you have them, you can have me sign them if you want. Even though my name's not in the book, I did do it. Did do the backgrounds and stuff. So, Anyways, looks like we are on to the Copic marker part of this. And actually, those aren't Copics. It's just always easier to say Copics regardless of what markers you're using. But these are the Artist Loft markers from, I think it was Michaels or... Yeah, Michaels. They were on sale. And I decided to try them out. So they seem to actually work pretty well. I've been happy with them so far. They aren't quite as lushful as Copics, but you can work with them in the same way. So I kind of wanted the film reel to look like it's deteriorating or fading out. Again, while I was happy with the final result, I'm not sure that I'm happy with the film reels as a motif in the background or a design element. In colors, I made the film reel sort of glowing white, like there's light behind them, and it was red behind it because I was sort of inspired by the first issue of Tinseltown. The cover to that had this sort of expanding red and white, these red and white stripes, but they were expanding outward, and they kind of like draw you into the image, and this almost looked like a propaganda piece. I will do a video about the colors. I'm doing them digitally, so I've got a time-lapse video that I will release, and that'll be up in the next week or so. I don't want to release parts, or I don't really want to release any parts of it until I'm completely done and happy with the colors. So I sort of dropped her into, she's all blue, the background's mostly red and white, and it just really looks like some sort of weird, like, Nazi propaganda poster. You had to, like, look at her and be like, wait, oh, she's a cop. Wait, she's not an SS officer. So I'm kind of, I don't know, I got to mess around with that. But we'll see. We'll eventually come up with something cool. By we, I mean me and my brain. We don't always get along, but, we figure some stuff out. So trying to do an aged look to the film. So that's why I was kind of coloring outside the lines there. If you look at old 16mm film, whatever oils and stuff are used in the black frames sort of seeps in to the cells themselves over time, and you kind of get that, faded look around the edge. So with this, it's working light to dark. You'll see guys like Adam Hughes do this exact same technique for like clouds in the background when he's doing like convention sketches or things like that. So just take the lightest gray, and I went cool, warm, cool with it. It didn't really, it didn't have the same effect. Like the Copics have a more vibrant, cool and warm gray. These Artist Lofts, like I said, they're really nice, but it wasn't quite as effective as I thought it would be. I thought I'd get this like kind of nice purpley thing going on, but it worked. And I am trying something interesting, probably only interesting to me. But we scan black and white artwork these days. We don't photograph it. And I thought it would be fun with this piece, and so far the process worked great. I laid it out on my desk. I set up all these really bright lights and sort of like a little mini photo studio in my studio, and photographed the page, dropped it into Procreate on the iPad, and then played around with the curves and got it looking pretty good, I think. So I'll let you guys be the judge, though, and you can tell me what you think. So just layering over and layering over. I didn't want to go too dark too soon. I wasn't sure how dark I wanted them to be, and then I can always mess around with it digitally. So I may even end up removing them, which kind of bums me out, but I don't know. I'm not giving up on them yet. I was originally going to have little scenes playing out in them that were from the book, but I almost think that's too distracting. It might take too long. But I feel like if you don't know the book, you might not pick up that that's film reel at first in the background. And it might not make sense why there's film reel, that she was a police officer on a Hollywood set. So But then again, if you're reading the trade, this is going to be in the trade. You're going to know it already. But say we have it as a print. David would like to have it as a print at, WonderCon. I don't know. We're going to have to figure something out. So we're wrapping up here. I want to thank you for watching. This was a longer one, and I rambled more. I hope some of it was interesting. I at least remembered a couple things while still forgetting many things. So next time will be the colors, and we'll be doing a time-lapse of that. I'm doing it in Procreate. And thank you for watching. Hit me up on Instagram, Ryan_inking_Winn. And until next time, take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and take it easy.